This is the Nations Conspire channel. Welcome to today's show. The line is continuing to accelerate from vision to reality. A lot of people continue to think that the line in Saudi Arabia is not actually being built, that this was just some idea that a bunch of rich people came up with, which is really, if you don't know, a modern day city which is being designed like a very long line in the middle of the desert. Why the middle of the desert? Well, because guess what? There's no escaping the middle of the desert. You try to break free, which you won't be able to because the entire thing is going to be run on smart technology and artificial intelligence. But just say hypothetically, you were to try to forge a plan ahead to escape. Once you realize that you're actually in a modern day prison, you won't be able to escape because you'd literally be crawling through the desert in the middle of nowhere and dying from dehydration. That's the point. That's why it is in the middle of the desert. And this is what we're going to see moving forward, is them continue to market, literally marketing a prison as if it's a futuristic city where you can be free and there's clean energy and everything's hunky-dory and you're supposed to want to live in a city like this. And of course, once you realize you're literally living in a cubicle where you work, eat, and sleep, and you are now locked inside with curfews and all other things that would make you think it's a prison, well, suddenly you'll probably think twice about wanting to live inside of the line. So the line is continuing to accelerate from vision to reality. And if you didn't hear, Saudi Arabia's line, the one that they're currently building that I'm discussing here, is using 20% of the world's available steel. So it sounds like they're pretty serious when it comes to getting this thing completed. And it's not just going to be Saudi Arabia's the line that we start seeing as these mega cities start popping up around us. Because in America, as I'll cover in a few minutes, there's going to be plenty of these as well. You know them as smart cities. These will all be run on AI governance. But for those of you that are not familiar with the line and what it looks like, here is the nightmare for itself. And notice they even hold up that 666 hand symbol right in the middle of their trailer for this prison.
What is NEOM? This is NEOM, or here, to be more precise, in the northwest of Saudi Arabia. But NEOM is more than a place. It's a home for people who dream big. Bigger than that. That's more like it. It'll be a hub for innovation, an entirely new model for sustainable living. The vision for a new future. In fact, that's how it got its name. But what will be there? There's Oxagon, a thriving city at the crossroads of the world, where advanced manufacturing will enable industries of the future. Trojana, a year-round mountain destination. And just remember to pack your skis when you visit. Or if skiing's not your thing, there's always Sindala, one of NEOM's many beautiful islands, perfect for some R&R. And the line, a 500-meter high, 200-meter wide, 170-kilometer long city in the shape of, well, a line. No roads, cars, or emissions. And everything its 9 million residents could ever need within a 5-minute walk. But best of all, the entire region will offer unparalleled access to nature and will be powered by clean energy. All within easy reach of the rest of the world. I know what you're thinking. Why does the world need NEOM?
That's a good question.
The world needs NEOM because the world needs change. That's what we mean when we say
made to change.
NEOM represents a global opportunity for one, changing how the world does business by making the region a special economic zone, easing the way for entrepreneurs to blaze their trail. Two, changing the way we live our lives with preventative healthcare and the highest standards of livability. Sounds nice, right? And three, changing how we look after nature and our planet. Because without this, what use are 1 and 2? But how will NEOM achieve these aims, you may ask? Within NEOM are 14 sectors, spearheaded by the world's best talent. Each sector has been designed to advance technology and push the very limits of human knowledge. Imagine NEOM as a prototype for a better future, a future for all. one being built to last. Sound good? Great. So when the world asks, what is NEOM? You'll know to answer that NEOM's a place that'll change the way we live on this planet. Simple, really.
NEOM is open for business. The new future being built in Saudi Arabia to redefine business, livability, and conservation. Environmental, social, and governance is at the heart of everything we do. Our special economic zone is almost the size of Belgium and sits at the crossroads of 3 continents, providing a new destination for global trade and investment. Progress is rapid with large-scale investment, best in the world talent onboarding every day, and construction gaining pace exponentially. The Line, our city of the future, is moving forwards fast, as is our Center for Advanced and Clean Industries, Oxygen, the luxury island destination, Sindala, and the mountains of NEOM at Trojena. There are already 3,000 plus NEOM employees here from more than 90 countries, as well as more than 60,000 construction workers. Major infrastructure projects like roads, utilities, and a hospital are already built in NEOM. Some $2 billion will be invested into the port of NEOM, and the first container terminal will open in 2025. We are owned and supported by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. We have raised $6.1 billion of financing to build the world's largest green hydrogen plant to produce green ammonia at scale in 2026 through NEOM Green Hydrogen Company, a joint venture with Air Products and Aquapower, and one of the biggest social infrastructure public-private partnerships globally, will see $5.6 billion invested into building 10 residential communities to house 95,000 people. NEOM will offer the best international standards in relation to tax, the regulatory environment, and commercial law. With access to 13% of world trade flowing through the nearby Red Sea and 40% of the globe being within a 6-hour flight. Nobody has done this before. That's why it's special. A new economic model and a beacon of change that will benefit generations to come. We invite you to join us by investing in the new future where people and planet can thrive while businesses can provide lasting impact. This is NEOM.
And that is the modern day prison known as NEOM. And of course, like we say, I always compare these types of things to the commercials we see for pharmaceuticals, right? You see a pharmaceutical commercial, they're talking about somebody who has ED or something else. And what do? They show you a couple walking on a beach with a picnic basket and a blanket, and the sun is setting. And while they're showing you all these beautiful images, playing a background song that sounds relaxing, they're reading about 750 side effects, including dementia, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's, which are likely to be something that you get from taking the pill that they're showing you in the commercial. But of course, 99% of the people don't even realize what they're seeing because they're under hypnosis. They're seeing all the beautiful images, they're seeing the happy couple, and they're not even realizing that for you to take this pill to maybe be able to get, your ding-dong working again, that you may end up with some serious side effects and diseases, right? Well, this is the same thing. The way they market this stuff to you, right? Because it looks like you're literally watching a commercial to go on vacation to some expensive resort, the type of resort that only celebrities could afford to go to. And they're marketing it to you saying that it's green energy, it's clean, it's peaceful, pack your bags, come on down, everybody's gonna have a great time, you could explore, you could go do this in the desert, you could do that in the water, and people won't even realize when they end up going to these places what they're actually in for, because once you're in, there is no way out. Now, the Line isn't the only city that's being built, but this $500 billion smart city is already showcasing artificial intelligence governance, which is what the New World Order is going to be based on, AI governance. Remember, Klaus Schwab and all of these billionaires continue to talk about artificial intelligence governance. Their alliance is creating smart city governance. Toronto is another place that is building one of these types of cities. And you can see there's a common theme as well, that they're doing these in a straight line, because the updated look at the future of Scarborough, Golden Mile neighborhood, where over 37,000 residential units are currently planned, includes towers up to 53 stories. It looks exactly like the line, just with skyscrapers, right? And it's in a direct line as well. That is not done by coincidence. So what I'm getting at, while they're building these prisons around us and they're telling you that this is really cool, that you should want to sign up. You know, you might remember even Kanye West is planning on building a 100,000 acre city in the Middle East. And I believe that that will be one of the ways they start marketing these smart city prisons. They're going to use things like Star Wars and Disney, and Disney's already building out their smart city dystopia, where they're going to trap you inside of this city while you're living in La La Land, where you think it's wonderful and it's great, and you don't mind having a curfew, and you don't mind having your electricity shut off at 8 o'clock every single night, because you wake up and you get to have breakfast with Donald Duck and adults dressed up in costumes, and you're living your life as a child still, because you can't face the horror of the reality around you. That's what they've done with adults. They've taken adults and turned them into children. So Disney also has one of these cities coming out in the United States of America as well. But what I'm getting at is what everybody knows is Project 2025. One of the things in Project 2025 is Agenda 47. Agenda 47 and Trump's policies in Agenda 47 outline the building of freedom cities in America. And that's how easy it is to deceive conservatives out there, who obviously are very well aware of smart cities. The majority of conservatives are very aware with everything that happened in Lahaina, are very aware of a lot of these fires that are being caused to build smart cities, but you call it a freedom city, and all of a sudden these people don't seem to be able to correlate the two, because they don't want to believe that their hero, Donald Trump, is actually planning on building the same exact thing, just naming it something else. Here it is out of Donald Trump's own mouth.
Past generations of Americans pursued big dreams and daring projects that once seemed absolutely impossible. They pushed across an unsettled continent and built new cities in the wild frontier. They transformed American life with the interstate highway system. Magnificent it was. And they launched a vast network of satellites into orbit all around the earth. But today, our country has lost its boldness. Under my leadership, we will get it back in a very big way. If you look at just 3 years ago, what we were doing was unthinkable. How good it was, how great it was for our country. Our objective will be a quantum leap in the American standard of living. That's what will happen. Here are just a few of the ways we can do it. Almost 1/3 of the landmass of the United States is owned by the federal government, with just a very, very small portion of that land, just a fraction, 1/2 of 1%. Would you believe that? We should hold a contest to charter up to 10 new cities and award them to the best proposals for development. In other words, we'll actually build new cities in our country again. These freedom cities will reopen the frontier, reignite American imagination, and give hundreds of thousands of young people and other people, all hardworking families, a new shot at home ownership and, in fact, the American dream. Another big opportunity is in transportation. Dozens of major companies in the United States and China are racing to develop vertical takeoff and landing vehicles for families and individuals. Just as the United States led the automotive revolution in the last century, I want to ensure that America, not China, leads this revolution in air mobility. These breakthroughs can transform commerce, bring a giant infusion of wealth into rural America, and connect families and our country in new ways. Likewise, through our Strategic National Manufacturing Initiative, which is going to be very big and very, very successful, we will turn forgotten communities into hives of industry, producing the goods we will no longer import from China. We will also have a major initiative on lowering the cost of living with a special focus on lowering the cost of a new car and lowering the cost to build a single-family home. And they will be beautiful homes. And I will ask Congress to support baby bonuses for young parents to help launch a new baby boom. Finally, I'll challenge the governors of all 50 states to join me in a great modernization and beautification campaign, getting rid of ugly buildings, refurbishing our parks and our public spaces, making cities and towns more livable, ensuring a pristine environment, and building towering monuments to our true American heroes. Very importantly, I will also make sure all of these new places are safe. We love and cherish our police. They will do the job the way they have to. It is time to start talking about greatness for our country again. I will dramatically increase living standards and build a future that brings our country together through excitement, opportunity, and success. Thank you very much.
So again, Donald Trump's Freedom City is exactly like what Neom's The Line is going to look like. It's exactly what that city in Toronto is going to look like. It's all going to be run on artificial intelligence. The Freedom Cities are going to be no different than Neom's The Line, because what they're going to do to market it is they're going to tell you that illegal aliens can't come in, that crime is down, that there's no crimes in these conservative cities that we're building out of thin air for you. And everything is going to be run on AI governance. So inside of Agenda 47, Trump's proposal includes freedom cities, as the president has called for using federal land to create new cities, up to 10 new cities, which would be roughly the size of Washington, D.C. Plans for the cities would be chosen via a nationwide contest, which was reported back in 2023. You heard it out of Trump's own mouth. Trump's proposal includes investing in vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, akin to human-sized drones and baby bonuses, and in hopes of staving off a declining birth rate. So if you get babies in some of these smart cities, I'm sure that they'll be created in an artificial laboratory. I'm sure they're just not telling you that. Or don't forget now, where you have Trump partnered up with Elon Musk, and you look at the freedom cities and you look at all this stuff, Elon Musk is continually tweeting out flying cars, right? So you see how they're going to correlate and work this in together, the mad scientist character that Elon Musk is playing. But don't forget, when they talk about the declining birth rate, that Elon Musk openly, as I talked about in a recent video, is talking about the creation of these artificial wombs where women won't have to birth the children themselves. They'll be birthed in an artificial womb. And they market this to people, and they will market it to women by telling them that, well, it's so stressful to go through all those months of having a baby inside you. Well, it's so stressful for a woman to have to go to all these doctor's appointments. It'll really mess with their work schedule. Those are the things that are literally in the articles that are talking about Elon Musk's next big project, which are these artificial wombs. So baby bonuses, of course, will be designed to give people a little caveat. Here's a couple extra dollars in your wallet, but here's the catch. You birth the baby out of a artificial womb. So your baby is likely not even to be a real human being. So these smart cities are going to begin popping up around us as we head into 2025. They are going to work, the marketing on this is going to work perfectly to deceive the conservatives out there, because they're going to hear about and they're going to remind you of all the imagery that they deliberately showed us over the last 4 years in San Francisco, in New York, right? They're going to show you over and over again criminals running into Nordstrom's and looting stores and nobody doing anything, and the police standing down and not arresting anyone. They're going to show you the clips of people getting high in the streets. They're going to show you the clips of the horror story that is now Philadelphia, which has always really been a horror story if you ask me, but they'll show you the clips that they show all the time now of Philadelphia, literally a zombie apocalypse. And then they'll say, in these freedom cities, there'll be no addicts. You could feel safe in the city. You could feel like you don't have to worry about that anymore. And on the flip side, while they market freedom cities, the smart cities will focus more on green energy, on climate change, right? Because they're not going to get conservatives with the climate agenda. They're not going to get them sucked into wanting freedom cities based off of the climate. They're going to work them with the immigration. They're going to work them with the crime rates. They're going to work them with the homeless problem, all things that the Democrats deliberately did, all set up, all of it done by design for what's about to come with Project 2025 and Agenda 47. So while we see this happening, while we see the line continuing to accelerate from vision to reality, people need to start thinking to themselves about what these people are saying right to their faces. When Donald Trump is talking about a freedom city, you might as well look at the horror story known as the line. Because while it won't be in the middle of the desert out in Saudi Arabia, it's likely to be in the middle of the desert here in America, probably be in the middle of Nevada or Arizona somewhere. I've seen some of the locations that they've discussed. They'll be in states that don't have major cities where they could actually build these things out. And like I said, don't forget of how the marketing is going to work. Marketing is the devil's tool. I mean, the way that they market people, they deceive them so much. And a lot of people out there can't even correlate between a smart city and a freedom city. A lot of people out there can't correlate how it's one and the same. And all they're going to do is sell it to you differently based on your political ideologies, but they're going to move forward with artificial intelligence governance, which is the point, which Donald Trump and Elon Musk are fully on board with. And again, Elon Musk continually tweeting out about being the pioneer at the front and center of the fourth industrial revolution, which is AI governance. So we'll keep an eye on these stories. I fully expect in the beginning of 2025 to hear more and more about these pilot cities being launched, about not just the border stuff that we've heard, but about how now we're going to take all these homeless and camps that are in the middle of these cities, people living on the sidewalks in these cities, which the government has allowed to happen. Nobody's been arrested for any of their crimes. They continually are allowing it and have allowed it so that they can manipulate you into smart cities and freedom cities. AI governance, ladies and gentlemen. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families, as always.